So yes, this is just a last moment for us to reflect, and maybe we'll go in order. Allison, is that all right? Are you? Can I? So the question is very simple. Is there name one or two moments from the last? And let me just say, I wanted to thank Wyatt and Shane for that. You know, we at the Hannah Arendt Center sponsor the Bill Mullen recitation contest every spring, where students are asked to come in and recite a poem, and it's judged, often by Ann and Thomas as our judges, and it's become one of the more popular events on campus, and it's a really beautiful thing to have students memorizing poems and presenting them to their fellow students. So that was really beautiful. So the question for us is, you know, one or two moments from the last 2 days on joy that struck you or that you'll carry home with you. Allison, do you want to begin?
Well, I thought the whole conference was incredibly rich and meaningful for me. I was very moved by this last panel for a variety of reasons. I just think that it was a joyful moment in that it was grasping for some things that are true and hitting them in a profound way. So that's will stick with me. This idea of joy, I think, as the awareness of grace is a powerful one. That's one moment. I also wanted to say to Sean that I want to read his poems about Donald Trump, and I thought maybe I could interject something we haven't had here today represented at all, which is namely joy as insatiable curiosity and the extraordinary joy one can get from science, from trying to understand the natural world. And this actually relates to Sean's poems about Donald Trump. Why?
Shane.
Excuse me. Shane. Forgive me for mispronouncing your name. In that we know now from recent studies from Anthropic that Donald Trump is a singular phenomenon in artificial intelligence. Why? Well, there's this new field called mechanistic interpretability, or mech-interp, and we know that AI is produced through a black box process. They put things in and they get things out by tweaking parameters, and we don't know why we get the outcomes we do, which strikes fear in the hearts of people like Eliezer Yudkowsky, because if you can't explain why something happened, you can't predict what might happen. So mechanistic interpretability is just trying to take the output and go back and reverse engineer how you got there. And what they found was that AI maps onto the circuitry of the human brain in a pretty profound way. There are neural networks that connect one to the other. Every concept you could possibly think of, including joy, would have a particular circuit, which is a set of nodes connected on a network, right? For each unique concept, with one exception. Donald Trump occupies an entire node. He's the only concept that is disconnected from every other node. I think that's incredibly profound. It's like he's sort of a black hole of humanity. And we all know what happens when you fall into a black hole. You know, you're overwhelmed and destroyed by the tidal forces. So this is something to think about. I could go on more about that, but I won't. I'll say my second instance of revelation today was, I think it was when, let me try to get these names right, Tony Kroneman?
Kroneman, yeah.
Kroneman talked about Aristotle's essential forms and modern science proving his theories wrong, which I think is true. And super interesting. And then he said the answer to that, the answer to Aristotle in the modern age was Spinoza. And so I realized at that moment, I was sitting there, I'm like, you just have read a few passages from Spinoza. You don't know Spinoza. So I'm going to go home from this conference and read Spinoza seriously.
Thank you. Thomas, do you want to?
Hello, is it on still? I really enjoyed this conference. I've been to a bunch of these, and this one I think will stay with me more. In part, I think that there was something that was so beautiful about the musical element that was incorporated. I found myself, I was here early. Yeah. I was here early yesterday, just by myself in the back, eating those incredible apple cider donuts that if you get here early enough you can get. And they just started playing on the piano, and I wasn't expecting it, and I was just taken aback by that. And I thought that was really human and beautiful. And then I just wanted to, it's hard to limit it to two, and it's not to overlook anybody if I can't name every moment that was really meaningful to me, but the first was, I thought just from the beginning, Teju Cole's keynote, and then the way that he modeled a kind of available writer who talked to everybody with every question, his breakout session and stuff, just was something that will stay with me as like how you be, and when he said that this is I'm holding the mic, but everybody here adds something, I think that I want to bring that back with me. I thought Bill T. Jones's physical charisma and just brilliance of spirit, and your arm throwing those apples, I enjoyed that. And then lastly, I have to say that Wyatt Mason's will and resilience and ability to be vulnerable and to recite in that beautiful way that Windhover poem of Hopkins, and to share the personal with the profoundly uplifting aspect of art, and to connect that all together, I thought was the most beautiful ending to a conference I've been through. I was really moved by that, and will actually leave the conference with the commitment. I'm not really somebody who uses poetry much in my own life, and I feel that's a deficiency, and now I'm this model of what you can do when you take something to heart. I'm going to incorporate some verse in my own life again. I don't think I've done that since my dad made me memorize Invictus as like a 7-year-old to get my allowance. But that was really beautiful. I was deeply moved by that, Wyatt.
Thank you. Uday.
So I found this, I come to these conferences regularly, and I have to say, this was perhaps the most moving conference. I'm so disappointed that I wasn't here yesterday, though I spent much of the night listening and watching it. And one of the things that struck me was Teju Cole's emphasis on likeness. And it connected for me with Anne Lauterbach's statement that joy is in the present. And it reminds me that occasionally I teach Plato's Republic. And as when you would know that in the 7th book, when the guardians go up this ladder and they see the forms, in different translations, it's translated as an illumination. In another translation, it's translated as a bulb. A bulb goes on. And both strike me as significant because they're episodic moments. They're instances. And Plato perhaps even says, this joy cannot continue. just like a bulb can't continue. And again, I contrast that. If something happens in the present, and it can only happen in the present, then what does it lack? It lacks duration. And that is, for me, the contrast between pleasure and happiness. Joy happens in the present. Let me give you a recent example. In our flat in New York, we have an orchid. Somebody gave it to us some time ago. And the flowers on it kept falling down. Maybe it's because we don't know how to look after orchids. I tend to overwater things. And then recently, about a week ago, my daughter came running to me and said, "Look, there's a new flower on the orchid." And that gave me pleasure, it gave me joy. That instant gave me joy. And when Anne Lauterbach was talking, it reminded me of that. It reminded me of that instant. And I have to say, it would be wrong to call it gave me pleasure. Because pleasure you expect will continue. Just like happiness you expect will continue. So if you buy something which you really like, then you feel, I like it, I can buy it again. In fact, on Amazon, they ask you want to repeat your order. I couldn't get my daughter to repeat this blooming of another orchid. Nobody could. So that gave me joy.
Thank you. I thought this was a very moving conference. I don't want to keep you. One thing that gave me joy was that I think amidst the music, the poetry, the audience engagement in this conference was extraordinary, and that gave me great joy. The questions were great. The engagement was there. When Bill was up, looking at people's eyes, it's the moment, the present, but it's the nunc stans, right, from Augustine. It's the eternal present. I mean, that's to me maybe the opening of the contradiction or the solution, cutting of the knot, right? That the present is the eternal present. And I think that's what we've all been struggling with and trying to experience in our bodies and minds and souls this last 2 days. So it wouldn't happen without all you being here and being so present, and I want to thank you for it and invite you to have some wine and cheese outside and hopefully stay and come back and watch an amazing play at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much.